Good morning, everybody. All right, today, uh, something I showed in a couple videos. I can't remember exactly the name of each one, but I know one was a blast from the past video. Had like a 15-some-year-old kit that had one of these modified rat traps in it. So it's not rocket science. I know a lot of people have already figured out how to do this or seen it done, but we're going ahead and take the one out on Maxpedition Great Falcon Pack, and we're going ahead and get this thing set up to be used. Now, I may try to preserve the plastic bag, so I want to cut it up high here, and I may get the trap back in it and try to reseal that or nothing else, just run some tape through there. Not particularly necessary, but I figure while it's in the packaging, it's protected from moisture at least. Okay, guys, now here's going to be some basic stuff we're going to use. We're going to need some paracord, obviously the rat trap, drill. Now I just brought the whole Makita kit up. I got one that unfortunately is snapped off and need to replace, but we're going to need the drill bits. And that is due to being able to run our paracord through the trap itself. So we'll need a 3/16 inch drill bit. That's roughly the same size as the diameter of your paracord. So we'll go ahead and pop that out of there. Well, it used to have writing on it. There we go. That's kind of crappy. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that's 3/16 inch. Right, let's load her up in the drill. Put the drill side over here. All right, now to the rat trap. Take the old Asada here. Try to do a nice, decently clean draw cut through here. Now, I'm not saying any particular brand. The reason I chose Victor is just because it's a very well-known company. They got a good reputation. These aren't super expensive. They're like $4 or $5 for a nice big rat trap. So that's why I have the brand. So I know there is cheaper out there. So you know, you do not have to buy Victor if you don't want to. But I wanted to, so I bought it. Let's get that closed up. Okay, now then, pretty basic premise behind this. Just one of the first basic modifications we're going to do is to simply drill a hole into it so we can lash some paracords or run some paracord through there, tie it off, and then we'll have a point to lash this out on a stake or to a tree or something that way, in case something larger than our target animal gets in this, they won't run off with your trap. All right, so let's real quick. Now, I typically go up here just a little bit beside, there's this registered R mark on your rat trap. Now, as you're looking at the rat trap, it's got the safety staple. It's a brand new one. It's got the safety staple holding that down. That's fine. That can stay right there. Let's just maybe just a little bit. I'm sure you guys can see this well. All right. So we'll come up here about around that R. And because I want to keep plenty of meat. Now this is like a piece of pine. It's not particularly strong. So I want some extra wood left around the hole I'm going to drill here for the sake of support and strength. So I think we'll go about right there for that hole. And the rest, there's nothing too fancy about it. We're just literally going to take our drill and drill right through that. There we go. No fuss, no muss. We got us a hole. Now, I've been playing around with other ideas for using this and potentially catching squirrel. So I'm actually going to drill more than just the one hole. Now keep in mind, you do not have to do this. This is just something that I thought that I should try. So I'm going to come back here. And this one's going to be a little bit closer in. So I want to put another hole here. And now I was debating on one hole in the center to be under your bait trigger. Now, all right. Now I may put one hole here in the center. Now my idea is quite simple. That is to be able to affix this to a tree to where the trap itself is facing down towards the ground, and being able to set this up and either lash it to the tree or drill, take a multi-tool, run some screws through here and adhere it to a tree that way, and put some bait on that, preferably peanut butter or something of the nature. And that may be easier to actually trap a squirrel versus like a rat. However, if I feel like it, I could actually do 3 holes. So we can actually put one here, here, and we can still put one right there. Now, the only thing I am worried about putting any holes here, here, and here is that this is where the killing bar slams down. So in lieu of putting the holes here, they come back up on this end and potentially just put a 3rd hole back here. However, I'm worried about putting a hole dead center because I know this is pine, and that could very well weaken the whole center point here. And with that kill bar slamming down real hard, we could end up with a fracture. So that's kind of where I left off with my my dilemma of what to do with it. I did have a couple other ideas, but I'm not sure if I should, like I said, you only waste so much time kind of, trying to reinvent the wheel here. Like I said, outside this, if this isn't sufficient, there's always like a Conibear 110. But for the sake of experimentation, I may end up, let's go ahead and putting some more holes into this thing. Like I said, I may be more apt to come down here. I hate to put 2 holes here because this is going to be a heavy impact point on the corners. Like I said, the one in the middle could end up splitting our trap in half. However, for our demonstration purposes here, I'm just going to be leaving our holes right where they're at. So, and in general, the amount of paracord could vary, so you may not want to pre-cut your paracord, but if you got enough experience, roughly what you could expect where you need to tie these things off to, and it's not a big deal. Me personally, if I'm going to go ahead and pre-select the length for this, I'll probably go, I'd go about 2.5, 3 feet. That will give me a decent amount of room to work with. If there's only a larger diameter tree or something to tie off to, or if I need to hang this, I can still, with just these two holes, wrap, say there's a base of a tree going up through here. I can, where we got my paracord tied off here, wrap it around the tree, come to this side, weave it through, cinch it tight as I need it, tie in there a little knot right here, and we'll still be, but not quite as stable as I'd want, but we'd still be hanging upside down. So with that being said, let me find our open, there we go. Come hither. There we go. So now this should slide through there without any issues. When I say that, now it won't go through there. Make a liar out of me. There we go. Now then we got that through there. And by the way, you don't have to necessarily use the paracord. If you want to use bank line, just use the proper size drill bit. Bank line's incredibly tough stuff. So, that will work just fine. Now, please, I usually just going to do the overhand knot. Come back here with our tag end sticking out. And that will actually stop that from slipping back out. We'll just wrench that down pretty good. There. Now, that's not going anywhere. And the best part about it now is, say I set this out there, and I'm like, don't matter to me if I get a rat, whatever I need to use to get the rat to make a better trap to catch something larger, or a ground squirrel, chipmunk, tree squirrel. Now, one thing I don't really want is a raccoon or a possum getting into this, because if I don't have that staked out, if they get into that, they'll most likely run off with the trap still connected to their foot. But once this is secured, they're more than strong enough to pull their appendages back out of that trap, especially once it runs out of rope and it tightens out. They'll slip out of it, no problem. Now, I do prefer a better trigger plate. This is plastic. The older ones used to have metal. I prefer that, but like I said, it is what it is. These are quite powerful, and these can actually hurt you quite badly. I would dare say someone smaller, like a child, or like I said, no offense, no gender issues trying to make here, but if you have smaller, delicate fingers like a female, this thing could actually break your finger. And even a man's finger could, if it hits it just right, it could potentially even break a man's fingers. But what it will definitely do, it'll hurt and cause you a lot of discomfort for quite a while. So, and if you're in a survival situation, we don't want that. All right. Now, one thing I tried to do with the original one that I kind of wish I hadn't done, I had taken a old skillet and I'd put some vegetable oil in it, got good and hot, and I set the trap in it to soak. My original idea was, well, if I can't find anything to bait this with, I'm going to soak that in there, and that would draw in some potential prey animals, rodents especially, whereas that might work. After a little bit, that went rancid, and that trap smells really bad. And I'm pretty sure, there's a lot of bacteria and stuff going on there. It's not particularly healthy. So in lieu of doing that, I'm going to avoid it this time. So there's a lot of things you can do. If say you're going after a squirrel, you can use some mushrooms for bait. Obviously nuts. If you have anything on you like a cereal bar or a piece of jerky, Nutrigrain bar, you got any kind of nuts or something you had for a snack, those will be suitable to use to bait these with. they'll usually draw in any number of rodents. So always have a little something on you. Like I said, nothing else. One of the best baits you can actually use, whether it be any kind of basic rodent or squirrel, is peanut butter. You got a little tiny container of peanut butter in your kit that's nothing else dedicated to trapping with. I think that's the way to go. All right, guys. Now, like I said, this is pretty basic, pretty simple, but that's the point. It's one of them, like, it's like, yeah, why didn't I think of that kind of deal? Now, what this can do, it can increase your chances. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to eat a rat or a mouse. The point of the fact is, like, it's kind of like doing the food chain challenge. You can go really, really small. And if you can get like the rodent to be able to bait a larger trap for something else that's a bit more better to eat, or even using parts of that animal as bait for fishing, that's an option. Even after the fact, you can just go ahead and say you are doing that for fishing. After you've caught that rodent, you can set this up somewhere else. Maybe, like I said, do the thing on the tree, try to catch a squirrel while you're fishing. This thing will be actively or passively hunting while you're actively trying to obtain calories. It's pretty basic, simple, and you can even downsize this to a regular mousetrap. Same principle. It's just, say I'm going to try to use the little field mice and stuff I'm catching in this to improve my chances of getting a much larger, more desirable meal, like, fishing, or potentially baiting a much larger trap for something else. But something to consider. Now, these like I said, these are nice and flat. They fit pretty easily in a lot of little nooks and crannies in your backpacks, so you can at least probably get one of these. Now, like I said, if you take the time to learn how to use it, Bear 110 may be even better. Those you can actually set up in water, and they can actually trap and kill catch fish, and it's far more powerful in these. So, you can take possums, raccoons, even smaller beaver. So it has a multitude of more uses, and the way you can set those traps up is far superior than something like this. But for your average person that, you don't want to get into nothing too crazy, too technical, learn a whole bunch of new set of skills, you can go this basic, and it can actually perform some food catching ability for you. Now, like I said, bait, just keep it simple. I just recommend a sealed container, peanut butter. Get a nice hard plastic, good tight sealable lid. Slap that thing full of some peanut butter, and about anything you would want to catch in this, peanut butter will actually bait it in. So, all right, guys, with that, I thank you all for watching. Your time's been very much appreciated. I'll see you all in another video.